In 2024, we had massive steps taken in the large power station game. From the first power station with a 50 amp plug, to power stations that integrate seamlessly with your home and everything else in between. A ton of new units have come out this year, and here at the lab, we had the ability to put most of them through some real life testing. Some of them performed really well, and some of them were absolute trash. And today we're here to share our unbiased, unsponsored, honest opinions on our favorite large portable power stations in 2024. So welcome back to the lab where our opinions cannot be bought. Today we're covering power stations from the 2000 watt hour and up range. We have a separate video that we already made on the smaller ones if you're looking for something just light to take camping or whatever. Today we're going to be covering systems from off-grid, home backup, and even just offsetting your electric bill. Every power station that we go over today, we've already made a full dedicated video about on the channel. So if you're looking for more information, if we just breeze over something, in the description down below, we will have links to all the full-length videos of any products we talk about today. We will also be releasing a new video coming up very shortly that we worked long and hard and negotiated endlessly to get you guys the best deals come Black Friday. We have some exclusive codes that we're going to be able to give you that are hopefully, as long as we have not been lied to, the literal best prices you're going to find on the internet. So make sure you guys are subscribed for that. Anyways, let's just get right into it. We're going to start at the small end and we're going to work our way up. First up on the entry level section, we have the Anker F3600. This is a 2560 watt hour battery bank with a 2400 watt inverter. And this guy made the list because it is a big boy in a small package. This would be our top choice if you need a larger station to go camping with, or you want to bring it in like your trailer, that kind of stuff, but you don't want a massive system. This has a dedicated 30 amp plug, so you can actually plug your RV or your trailer into it. It's not a true 30 amp because the inverter is not big enough, but it will let you power the essentials inside of your trailer. It has the nice easy tow handle with the wheels on the back. It's got tons of plugs and ports, the big unibrow light, and overall it just functions and performs extremely well. And for the price and size of this thing, you really can't go wrong. Next up, we have what looks like a World War II care package. This is Mr. Pecky. The Pecron E3600 is a 3072 watt hour battery bank with a 3600 watt inverter. And this guy made the list because even though it doesn't look the best, it performs really, really well, and it has a ton of features, and it comes in at a price point that is significantly less than a lot of the competition. While it may be lacking things like a handle and wheels, at the end of the day, if you're just trying to get bang for your buck, this thing packs a ton of punch for a really good price. It's one of the only power stations with a nice touchscreen. It's actually really nice and easy to navigate and use. It's got so many plugs and ports. It has a true 30 amp plug because it's a 3600 watt inverter. No matter what you're trying to power, there's a plug or a port on this thing to do so. With one unit, you can expand the system up to 15.4 kilowatt hours. And in the full video, we compared like expanding this versus expanding the Delta Pro Ultra or something. And this, you can get this so much bigger for the same amount of money. It's crazy. Nothing about it blows us away, but it is the most affordable unit in this category if that's your bare bones necessity. The Oupes Mega 3. It's pronounced Opus, but you can't put a name like that on the power station and not expect everybody to call it Oupes. The Oupes Mega 3 is a 3072 watt hour battery bank with a 3600 watt inverter. This is also a budget option compared to the name brands. And this guy made the list because it performs surprisingly well for the price of it. It has US customer support. When we called in, we actually got someone in California to help us with our questions, which is very rare to find even with name brand units. And honestly, for the price of this thing, it's extremely competitive. Again, this guy has a true 30 amp plug, tons of 120 volt ports. This thing it's annoying when you set it up, you have to set the app up with Wi-Fi. But the cool part about that is that it makes sure the unit's up to date. It allows you to integrate it with like Google Home and Alexa. And the bonus above something like Mr. Pecky is this one actually has wheels and a nice little suitcase handle. It also has bump stops on the back, so it's able to be stood up. And the cool thing with Oupes is that even though they're kind of more of a budget brand, 5% of all of their sales actually go towards a help project that they have where they donate that 5% to give power stations to people in need, which is really cool considering they're not even the most expensive thing in the world. Next up, we got the OG Delta Pro. This is a 3600 watt hour battery bank with a 3600 watt inverter. And this thing made the list because when it was released like 4 years ago, it was like groundbreaking at the time. There was a ton of innovation put into this unit, and it is still extremely competitive 4 years later. And the price is only getting cheaper as it gets older. No matter what other power station we talk about in this video, this thing will still give it a run for its money, and that's what we love about it. Again, we have a true 30 amp plug. You have your, ours has been abused a little bit, but you have your suitcase handle and your wheels on the back. It's a little louder than some of the other ones, but you can still double the output and battery bank by hooking two of them together. They come with expansion batteries, which are also on wheels, which are nice. It's got EcoFlow's app, and honestly, like I keep saying, the biggest thing with this is it's tried and true. Tons of versatility, and you should be able to get it for a really good price. Next up, we have an actual skyscraper. And this right here is the Anker F3800. This is a 3800 watt hour battery bank with a 6000 watt inverter. This thing made the list because it did to the industry what the Delta Pro did when it released 3 or 4 years ago. This thing came out and like set the tone for what people are gonna start to expect in their large size portable power stations. Obviously, seeing that it has a 50 amp plug, this thing can do 120 and 240, and it's actually one of the only units we have that can do 120 volts and 240 at the same time. Something like the Delta Pro 3, when you switch between 120 and 240, it cancels out the other plugs. This guy has a dedicated 50 amp plug, which is really, really cool. We can use this thing to run the mini split outside of our house, plug directly into it. You can run like a welder, you can do all kinds of stuff off of this inverter. It has your classic generator plug. It's built to be stood up super tall like this or laid completely flat. It has handles all over the place. It's got the wheels and the suitcase handle. It's easy to get around. It's got a really seamless app. It's relatively quiet, and it can integrate with the Anker home power panel, which you can plug multiple F3800s into the same panel. You can use it for home backup. It can help you shave money off your electrical bills every month. We made a whole video on the home power panel and how basically buying it within a year, you pay the whole thing off with your savings. But most importantly, this thing actually outperformed the Delta Pro Ultra in almost every aspect of our testing. We did some real heavy load testing with this, more than the regular person is probably gonna do. We tried to raise a car on my car hoist. We tried to start a compressor. We tried to just run multiple power tools like a chop saw, a table saw, just do a ton of stuff all at once. And this thing outperformed the Delta Pro Ultra, even though on paper it shouldn't have. And if you want something just a little bit prettier than the OG Delta Pro, look no further than its big brother, the Delta Pro 3. This thickie has a 4000 watt hour battery bank with a 4000 watt inverter, so just a slight step up above the old Delta Pro. And it made the list because it's bigger, better, and honestly just a lot sexier than the OG Delta Pro. It still has your little suitcase handle and your wheels on the back. You still got your dedicated 30 amp plug right here on the side. This thing also has a generator plug built directly into it. You can actually run 240 volts out of the Delta Pro 3. It's the smallest unit that we have that you can run 240 volts out of. It's also a lot quieter than the OG Delta Pro is. It performs really, really well. And similar to the Anker home power panel we were talking about, EcoFlow has released a new smart home panel. The OG Delta Pro has a smart home panel, but they've kind of phased it out. This works with the new smart home panel, and it can do all of the exact same things. It can peak shave. It can provide you with uninterrupted backup if the power goes out. These just kick right on and take over powering all of the essentials in your house. We actually have a video going over the differences between the Delta Pro Ultra, Delta Pro 3, and the original Delta Pro. I honestly would say good job either way if you bought this one or the old one. And this giant UFO looking thing is the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra. This is the biggest, baddest Delta Pro there is. Each battery for the Delta Pro Ultra is 6000 watt hours, and the inverter is 7200 watts. And the reason this guy made the list is because it can be expanded like crazy. This, I think, is one of the largest systems you can scale a portable power station to. It's dead silent when it runs. Like, I'm talking, this is the quietest power station ever. And it's just extremely versatile. You can get it with a little wheelie cart, so you can actually bring it like in your RV or something like that if you have a pretty big use case for it. It also has the tiny little spinny trolley thing that we have in the garage. Now this guy also has, integration with Anker's smart home panel. It does 240, it does 120. There's really nothing that this can't do. It makes a great unit for whole home backup or for peak shaving, even just like an off-grid cabin, something like that. This is plenty of power. Like we said earlier, we have links to all these power stations down below, as well as some discount codes. We have the Black Friday video coming out soon, so make sure you took some notes. That is all we got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you are subscribed, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out and stay charged.